Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ride. Yeah.
Welcome to the Coffee's Conversation and Keeping It Real podcast. Trina, I'm going to be making Trina do this intro more often. She always passes it to me.
I know, I make him do it.
But yes, Trina George over here, Philip Marcel right here. We got Claudia Cometa in the house.
Boss baby.
Thank you for joining us in Coffee's Conversation and Keeping It Real, Claudia.
Yeah, how fun is this?
Yes.
You guys are no joke in here. You're keeping it real. I love it.
That's what's up. Yeah, we have to.
We try.
Yeah, we do try. Yeah, so
You do a great job. Love it. I've been loving it so far.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've been listening. I'm
Have
I'm
you?
a big fan.
Really?
I have. I'm caught up to date.
Oh, for real?
Are you?
Yes.
You're on episode 3?
I am. I just watched John
Awesome.
Flanagan. That's the
Oh,
latest,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Woohoo.
yeah.
I'm not messing around. I'm
That's
keeping
cool.
it real.
You are keeping it real.
Are we doing
love
all right?
it.
You're doing fantastic.
Do you think our guests are providing value? Because that's what it really, we want our guests to come
Absolutely.
on and provide value.
No,
Cool.
it's awesome. I love it.
Fantastic. So tell the people who you are, what you do, what you have going on right now.
Yeah, so I'm Claudia Cometa, as you just heard him say so eloquently and fun. And yes, I am I'm so many things. I feel like I am should just stop there because, we all are just so much, and to even try to encapsulate that and box it up it's just so tough. So I hate to put titles, but if we're going to put titles,
Man.
I am a patient advocate. I kind of see myself as a wellness coach and all the things. So I help people navigate the muddy waters of the medical system. And that can look different based on the different needs, as you kind of know, probably in a lot of ways too, Trina, and what
Right.
you do. But, so sometimes it's the young professional coming to me because there's been a recent scary set of symptoms and diagnosis, and they are seeking help because they're entrepreneurs and they're hustling and they're busy and they don't have the time to get the answers they need. Sometimes it's the adult child of the elderly parent who
Right.
knows that there are gaps in understanding and treatment and they need clarity, and the adult parent is much like our parents that don't ask questions and
Right,
they
right.
believe authority and without questioning, and so it can look very different, but in general, if I'm going to encapsulate it in a set of words, it's helping people find clarity in a very uncertain and unclear medical system.
Yeah. And how did you get started on that path of that?
That kind of found me. So my entrepreneurial world actually began with skincare. I found skincare, loved it. And I still do skincare. Patient advocacy found me is the way I kind of see it. My father was diagnosed with lymphoma, and I advocated for him for a year,
Right.
and then really just truly felt a compelling urge, sense of this has to happen for others. I have to do what I did for him for other people. And
Yeah.
it was an inevitability. It was
Right.
like it already has to happen, and I just have to make it happen. So it was
Yeah.
a much different feeling than, me seeking out something.
Yeah.
It was kind of like it found me. So, technically the business started before my dad passed away, but I really wasn't clearly, it was, like months before he passed away. So I wasn't super active in it for that time period, and even a little bit afterwards for obvious reasons.
Right.
And so I would say, active business, I'm probably a little bit under 2 years at this point. But I can't even begin to tell you the impact. When you just have somebody tell you that, you're on the right path, you're doing what you're supposed to do, this is like, you saved my life, the kind of stuff that comes from people and just validates what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's, as you probably,
yeah.
both of you in your work have probably had, it's
It's just that feeling. It's inside you. You just know. You know
Yeah.
what you're supposed to do.
it's not even a question.
Absolutely.
It's like it's just a truth.
Yeah.
It's a feeling. It just feels right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is it like the aspect of it, like how are people finding you to get that help?
So, and that's always the big question for anybody who runs a business, right? How are you getting
Right.
clients? And
That's
so when I started, I knew that I knew how to work in the business. I can work in my business all day long.
Right.
I don't have an MBA. I am not an advertisement, guru.
Yeah.
I don't know any of that, but I did know that there was a nationwide organization that was for patient advocates, and they have a directory. And so if you are to Google patient advocate Gainesville or patient advocate Orlando or whatever, most of the time this directory is going to be one of the first things that pops up. So I applied to be a part of that directory. They have to vet you and make sure that you're legit, as they should. And so I am part of that directory. So a good percentage of people who call me are coming from that.
Right.
And then a good percentage are coming from word of mouth. So, people who already know, like, and trust me and would trust me for their own family members, but also trust me enough to refer me to others. So if they're having a casual conversation, something comes up and it triggers them, like, I know the person who could help you, so those are the conversations that come up. So between the two, that's where people come from.
That's cool.
I'm not on Google AdWords. I'm not SEO in anything. I'm just not that person. I'm not Facebook adding anything. I'm nothing wrong with that. It's just I've grown organically, and I'm really solidly okay with that.
And what's up with the your podcast? Because that kind of helps you, I would think, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about your podcast.
Yeah. So, totally not a competitive podcast, because totally different.
Oh my gosh.
Goodness gracious.
It wouldn't matter.
And let me say, it's a much lower scale than all of this fanciness. So
no,
I'm very impressed.
This is all because this is what I do. So I can't,
It's awesome,
it
though. I
just
love
makes
it.
sense to have the resources to just use them.
You be resourceful. Why
yeah.
not?
I
love it.
if I wasn't,
I
then-
tried to tell him, like, let's use a phone. He's like, what?
I started to, and I was just like,
yeah.
but it's just like we have
Hilarious.
it though, and it makes
You
it.
can't. But it's like, because of your skill set.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
No,
you can't go there.
Yeah.
But
Like this, like the phone
Yeah.
now is good. We use it. I use it in what we do in our productions. But I know that. See what I'm saying?
Siri,
Uh-huh.
Siri wants in
I
on this
found it.
conversation.
Exactly. She wants in all the time.
I feel
with
like
me.
we should invite her.
She-
in.
Yes.
Just put her there.
But it just makes stuff easier. Like
Yes.
the people in production and stuff, you get equipment and you invest in it for it to get out of the way.
Yeah.
And for it to not, for basically you do your art, do whatever thing you're creative doing, and it just gets out the way.
Yeah.
That's really comes down to.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I love it. So yeah, my podcast is called Minding Wellness, and the intention with my podcast is to give a voice to people who either have personal experience with either the Western traditional medical system or have sought other options. So, I've had guests on who have been, who have also gone through cancer treatment and have sought alternatives. So we talk about both sides of that.
Oh, wow.
Tomorrow I'm interviewing a physician who is actually now a life coach for physicians. So there's both sides of the of the coin, right? There's the patient side and the struggles that go on there, and then there's also the provider side and all of the struggles that go on there. And so my goal is to pass the mic and share these stories so that people have a place to go to just hear all the sides, all the options. A lot of the times we make treatment decisions based out of fear because we are now receiving a diagnosis, we are scared, and we hope that the person on the other side of the table has the answer, and so we make the sort of an emergent or urgent decision when maybe if we just had a little bit more knowledge, a little bit more time to make the decision that felt right to us, we would maybe make a different decision. And so it's having those conversations so people have a place to go for that.
Oh, that is very interesting. That is very interesting.
Yeah, thanks.
I don't know. Before that, did you see that being done? Because it was like, was it like an itch to scratch for you as far as doing a podcast and something needs to be heard here?
It was
Like, people need to hear this.
It really was, and it was like the name of the podcast just like dropped into my head. I mean, it really it was just like me starting my business. Like it was already truth. Like it was just already in existence, and I just had to manifest it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all been very organic, very natural, very much like, I'm not in a state of pushing resistance, trying to make happen what's not supposed to happen.
Exactly. Yep.
It's just it's happening the way it's supposed to happen. So yeah, it's exactly what if I could develop a podcast that I felt like needed to happen in the medical space, it's exactly what I think needs to happen. And no, I don't know of one that's like that.
Yeah.
It's possible. I mean, I don't even know how many podcasts. So
yeah,
it's
it's
possible that it
millions.
I
exists.
feel like
Somewhere.
everybody's doing podcasts these
Oh, yeah, for
days,
sure.
you know.
So yeah, very possible that it's something similar is out there or
Yeah.
a similar approach. But my goal is to approach it from mind, body, and spirit. So I have people on there who, are strictly talking about mindset. Some people who are talking about, more spirituality. And so it's just pulling in all of those pieces and giving and just just like you guys are doing, passing the mic to other people and sharing
That's
stories.
right.
And that's that's what
I
inspires
love
and impacts.
hearing other people's stories. I love, you being on my Facebook. Just, you're so motivational, like all the time. Like you're always just posting like upbeat, happy stuff. I just love you.
Oh, thanks.
love
The
is
feeling
here.
is mutual. I told you I'm up to speed on your podcast. I love you guys too. And I really think that there is so much value in other people's insights. And
Yep.
so, I mean, if I'm in the car, I'm listening to most of the time I am multitasking, listening to a podcast. Doing laundry, I've got a podcast going. Driving, I've got a podcast going. Because there's so much that you can learn from other people and their stories and their insights. And we have so much access to so much knowledge and insight that why would we not? I would listen to podcasts all night over watching TV, like any day.
I was actually telling somebody yesterday that I listen to podcasts more than I listen to the radio. Like I don't hardly listen to the radio anymore. Or like if I'm cleaning, I just listen to podcasts. I don't even turn on the TV.
Yeah.
I just I listen to podcasts.
Yeah,
all the time.
So much goodness. There's so much goodness, and people really pour their heart into it. And I was a guest on one recently too, and I was saying that I don't know how many people who maybe aren't familiar with the podcast production world, maybe they don't realize that this isn't a paid gig for us. I mean, it is for Oprah because she's probably, because she's got branding and she's got commercials and stuff. But it's not we legit love doing this. This is not a paid gig,
That's right. That's
and
right.
so for people to do something that they are strictly doing out of passion and purpose, I want to be part of that. I want to listen to that. If you're doing it out of that, I'm all in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what we feel about you.
Yeah.
I liked it when you you do the 2 minute, what was it called?
Yeah, my skincare drills.
The skincare drills. Those were so
Oh, I gotta bring
helpful.
those back.
You
guys
do.
miss those?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think people always. I think that's always going to have value, and people always want that. Yeah, for sure.
I'm really big on, as you guys are too, just providing value.
Yes.
Because there's so much, as you mentioned, negativity. Just there's so much to not support us and push us up, instead and push us down, that if there's I want to be a source of knowledge, education, positivity, like all of the things that I feel like are lacking. And so any role that I can play, any piece that I can play on that, I'm all in.
That's cool. That is cool. Now, with everything, like from being a provider and going into kind of providing information, do you miss just being a provider?
No. I really kind of don't miss the front lines of pharmacy. I worked mostly alongside physicians, and I did enjoy it to a degree. What I didn't enjoy was being boxed in, and as many employment situations are, you do what you're told to do, and that's okay. It's not that I'm super anti-authority, although I think in some ways I kind of might be, but we'll just leave that to another podcast.
You're kind of a pit bullish, rebellious. I know you.
A little bit issue with authority. No, but so I always approached my positions in a very innovative way, right? So I'm always trying to fix things that don't seem to be working well, to benefit the company, not to benefit me. I mean, to benefit the patients. Our ultimate end user is the patient. So, and so I always kind of felt boxed in. And so I don't miss that piece. What I'm really enjoying now is it's my company. I do what I absolutely know is necessary for my clients. I don't have any other conflict of interest. I'm not working for a facility. I'm not working for a hospital. I mean, obviously it can't be anarchy. I have to have a contract that says that I'm not a physician. I'm not going to be your new provider. I mean, I understand that there are still some boundaries and so I have those things in place. But outside of that, I am fully in on helping this person any way I can without anybody telling me, don't go this far, don't do that, don't talk to this, don't rock the boat. And so that's what I love is the freedom to do what I know needs to happen, and I don't want to be told otherwise. So yeah, I mean it's and usually when I walk into a situation with a new client, and they don't necessarily know my personality, and I'm like, it's okay, I'll start nice. Yeah. But then it might not go well if they don't listen to me for because I'm all about collaboration with the medical team. I'm all about that. But I also understand that once resistance starts to happen and I know that we need some answers, then, then the other side comes out.
You do wear many hats, and I know skincare is one of your many hats. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So, and like I said, that I found that was kind of a love that I sought out. So, I was... How old was I? I guess it's been 5 years, so maybe around 35. And just starting to notice what a lot of people start noticing, 30s, 40s and on. I just was like, how is that happening to me? How do I look like that right now? Like, what have I not been taking care of my skin? And so I started to personally just notice changes in my skin that I was not necessarily happy with. And so I made some changes, started to use better products, and started to notice how much of a significant change there can be with just being very aware of the products that work and being consistent with those products. And so, 6 months later, I just decided, like, I want to help other people do this. I want to help other people feel as confident as I could. The change that just happened in 6 months was so significant for me, internally as well as externally. And so then that just became a fun passion project of mine, is like just helping people and to get the feedback. Again, it's just, getting this feedback that, like, oh my gosh, now maybe my adolescent teenager who used to, hide their face at school is now feeling confident, or, thank you so much. I now feel, I was getting asked if I needed an AARP card, and now, like that kind of, and now I'm being carded for alcohol. It's just this confidence that comes from that, not out of a vanity standpoint at all. It's really not about, makeup and vanity. It's just more about just feeling good and taking care of our largest organ, because ultimately it's healthcare. I mean, it's our health. Our skin plays a much bigger role than just making us look good. I mean, it protects us from, it temperature regulates, it protects us from bacteria. It's got a really important role. So it's beyond just, the vanity part. So yeah, I absolutely still do that. And like I said, that's kind of something that I sought out, and patient advocacy sought me out, and we're a happy triad.
That is cool. That is cool. That is cool. Anything you're overcoming right now in your business that's like, you're trying to get through to take it to the next level, or to where your mind, goals and dreams are with it?
Yeah, I am in such a different place now. October, I started in a mastermind group, and I was at the point where I was, and I talked about this in the last podcast I was on, which is, pharmacy pulls in type A personalities. And so my, type A is like, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. So, at first it was like, okay, I'm just going to, I'm going to start this business, and it's, all organic from the heart. And then my type A personality starts coming in, about a year in, and it's like, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Right. And then I wanted to control everything and make everything happen and have, goals and reach them and hustle and all of that, all of that scene. So I hired a business coach. I'm in a mastermind. I absolutely love everybody in this mastermind. But what has happened since October to now is a complete shift. And now I'm at a place of complete surrender. And it is an amazing place to be in. So instead of me forcing the external, creating goals that and it's not, I'm not against goal creation, and I'm not against that, but I feel like there is a point at which we force too much that's not supposed to happen, and then we create obstacles and in our path to really see what was supposed to happen, what our path was supposed to look like. So now I'm at a point of, in the morning, I'm just God lead the way. What you bring into my life who I'm supposed to help. I am not forcing this to happen. I am not going to, go out there and talk to 10 people about, I'm just not going to make it happen. I want it to be organic conversations. I want it to be people coming to me because they needed me. And since my mindset shift with that, it's amazing what really is trying to come your way, and you are preventing it from happening. And by you, I mean me and all of us. I'm not just meaning you. And we don't realize that. And so the shift has been significant, and I feel like we're all intended to make that shift. It's just like, where in that journey are we, and when are we going to make that shift? But I feel like it's almost a necessity to make that shift to really get to our purpose. So, you know, ultimately I had to go back to my roots. Okay, I started this because I knew there was an organic need, and I need to keep this as an organic business rather than me make it into something that it was never intended to be. And so that's where I'm at. And I can't even tell you what has come into my life that I know I probably would have either missed or dismissed because I had a different plan. You know, like I was, no, I can't talk to you right now because I'm off to this networking meeting, or I can't, or you know, what I would have missed. And instead I'm just like, somebody's calling me, I'm supposed to talk to them, you know, and it's not necessarily in a way that, you know, I never say no to anything, but it's like, I'm more open now. If something's coming my way, I am open to say, why is this coming my way? You know, whether it's a good or bad. If it's an obstacle, what am I learning from this obstacle? There's something I'm supposed to learn from that. That's going to take me to the next place. And so it's being very cognizant and aware, as opposed to in my bubble of imposing what I think needs to happen. If that makes sense.
Oh, it totally does.
Yeah, completely. I think that's the balance. When you're independent, you know, and doing your own thing, of trying to find, not trying to push so hard to where, you know, you have stuff that you need to do, you know, mortgages due, payments to do, you know, stuff like that.
Right. There's basic needs.
Yeah.
It's
the routine stuff.
It's like not harping too much on the basic needs to what you want to do, because it's like then other things is like, oh, this is what I want, but not what I need. So you get the wants and needs things playing in there, and then. Yeah. And it's a significant release of all of that. You know, when you get to the point where it's like, you know what, I'm doing this for a reason. There is a purpose in what I'm doing, and I am turning it into something, or trying to create something that is against what is intended. And so in my process of doing that, I'm blocking the miracles that are trying to come my way. And now I'm focusing on all of my obstacles, on all of the bills, on all of the, you know, and because I'm stressing about that stuff, now I'm on a different path than I was even supposed to be. You know, now I'm just in this state of confusion versus getting still and clear and really recentering. That's cool.
I like that.
That's cool. I like that too. And I find it, I don't know, I want to see how you do it, because I know for me, if I just focus on just creating and sharing what I create.
Yes.
That is, I feel like that's enough. Yeah. You know, because my stuff is made to be seen.
Put your work out, and you allow the universe to do what it's supposed to do with
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. That's where I'm at. And it's so freeing.
That is so dope.
Like a bird.
Yes.
No, I mean, it really is though. And so a lot of the podcasts that I listen to are, you know, Super Soul Conversations and, you know, just all that stuff, because I think a lot of business really boils down to mindset and, you know, because logistics, I mean, we can all figure out logistics. I mean, if you tell it, you know, if you're a recipe, you'll figure out the recipe, you know, and that's actually what I talked about in the last podcast I was on, is like, I think when I got a business coach, is I was looking for a recipe book. I think on some level I was saying, you tell me what I need to do, I do it, and then I'm on the path to success. Easy, done, boom. Check. And it's not like that at all. And I needed to learn that process, and we're all on our own.
That sounds like some Game of Life type stuff. You can be a winner at the game of life.
You totally can. You can be a winner. So it's a lot of evolving, and a lot of, you know, understanding what's important, and just focusing on the work that you're doing, you know, putting it out there. You put it out there without the need for it to return to you in a specific way. Whether that be a person, a monetary amount, you put your work out there because that's the work that you were supposed to be doing, and all will be well.
I like that. Thank you so much, Claudia, for coming on.
Thank you.
Please tell people how to find you.
Yeah.
We'll have it all in the description, but tell them.
Of course. Instagram, my handle is @wellnesswithclaudia. My website is peaceadvocacygroup.com, and you can listen to my podcast. It's Minding Wellness. So you can find that on all the podcast platforms, iTunes, etc. Or it's actually a link on my website as well. So if you go to Peace Advocacy Group, there is a podcast section, so you can listen to it there.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
And adding value.
Thank you.
The Coffee's Conversation and Keeping It Real.
Keeping it real.
Later. Yeah.